Hi, it's Nick from CG Masters, and today we're going to be looking at the region of interest tool in Katana. So when we have a full frame, this is a full HD frame, there's a lot to render in here. There's a lot of lighting, a lot of textures, a lot of assets. It's going to take a while to render this frame to get a good look at it. And we may want to look at a specific region to check noise level, to see if textures are working, to see if the lighting is hitting exactly the way we want it to. But it may take 10 minutes to render this frame. So we can render just a very small portion of the image using what's called the region of interest tool. Sometimes it's known as the render region. So for example, this bush here, if I wanted to take a close look at this bush here, what I can do is up at the top here where it says ROI off, region of interest off, I can click it down and I can say on. I also want it visible. And now you see this white square. This is the default position for this white square. I can move the square to center on my bush. I can scale it down. I can also move the sides and the top and the bottom. So any edge or any corner is very easy to move. And this is my region of interest. If I only want my camera to render this region and not render everything else, so you can see it's focusing on here right now, I can go to my render settings node. And this has something called a crop window. And the crop window, here let's just look at the question mark here. It says specifies the render crop window in normalized coordinates. That means if you look at the values are 0 and 1, 0 and 1. That means 0 is the left-hand side of the frame. 1 is the right-hand side of the frame. 0 is the bottom. 1 is the top. So it's like left, right, top, bottom. And they've specified them as X min, X max, Y min, Y max. So rather than stating a certain number of pixels, because resolutions can change, they've just normalized it to between 0 and 1 for horizontal and vertical control. So the crop window will specify what the camera actually renders. Now I've already set up a region of interest, which is separate from the crop window, but I can get those values very easily simply with this drop down where it says copy from monitor ROI. So I can set it up with the monitor region of interest. Now here's another interesting thing. When I turn the monitor region of interest off, you'll see there's now a red dotted line, and the red dotted line indicates the crop window. Now when I do a new live render, you can see the only part that's going to render is what is inside the crop window. And because we're only rendering a very small portion, you can see that the render is going to be finished very, very quickly to its maximum current quality settings. So this tool is good for when you want to focus on just a small area of your image without having to render the entire frame. Additionally, it's good for final render passes for optimizing. So one of the things we do at the end is we're going to split out our scene into multiple different elements for compositing, and we want to set a region of interest. I'm going to reset the crop window back to its original by turning off the local button. And let's say, for example, I'm rendering only my cowboy character here. So my typical workflow for that render pass would be to turn the region of interest on, set it up around my cowboy. I want to get the whole cowboy in. And then set that to the crop window. I can turn my ROI off now. If you have your region of interest on and a crop window on, the only render you'll get is where they intersect. So this isn't much smaller than the full frame, but it will save the computer from having to render. Even though there may be nothing out here, it will still save you a few seconds rendering each frame. And when we're rendering hundreds of thousands of frames over and over again, believe me, a few seconds is worth its weight in gold. So please do use the region of interest and the crop window to optimize your test renders and also your final renders. And that's it for the ROI tool.